Well, hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man, and today we're going vintage back to the year 1993. It is by Wheeler Games. You can either play 2, 3, 5, 6. It really doesn't matter. You can do either solo, you can play teams, you can play on your own. It is called Peg Poker. Now in this game, what you're doing is you're rolling all these dice that have every single denomination on the card. So you just have a regular 52 card deck and these 13 dice, along with the chance die that tells you how many rolls you're allowed to roll in order to get the best hand possible to mark it on the board. The object of the game is you're trying to get the best hand in 4 of these squares, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, in order to win the game. So let's just say you rolled a 3 of a kind of 6s, and all of a sudden someone else comes along and gets a 3 of a kind and 8s. Well, they just took over your square because they had a better hand than what you rolled. And you're trying to get 4 squares in a row in order to win. So let's head on over to the gamers table, where I'm going to show you how to play Peg Poker. All right, here we are at the gaming table with Peg Poker. Let's take a look. All right, so here you have the game board. And you see it's plastic and has all the pegs, holes that you can place in the game. There's 16 squares, and each one of them has all the poker hands you can try to go for. You can see, I'll show you a little closer up. Every one of these squares is identical. You're going to use the pegs to go ahead and record what you end up rolling in the game. So let's go ahead and show you the components. Here's the board. Obviously, you have the instruction booklet right here. You also have 13 of these poker dice. Okay, and then you have one chance die that is yellow. You can see every one of these, all 52 cards in a hand, are all represented on these 13 dice. You also have the pegs that you'll be placing into the board. You have the green pegs, you have the blue pegs, and you have red pegs. Now, there are a few white pegs in there, and I'll go over what you use with those as we start the game. So let's go ahead, where you can either play solo if you want to. You can play 2 or 3 players, or you can do teams 4, 5, or 6, something like that. You can do something like along those lines. So let's go ahead and take the green ones, and we'll take the blue ones. We'll put the red ones away, back in the box. Okay, and let's go ahead and take these out. We're going to move this out of the way. We don't need the instructions, because that's what I'm here for. So you don't need the instructions, I hope. You're going to take all these old green pegs out. You're going to place them right here in front of you. Okay, there we go. Don't roll away, please. Thank you very much. Okay, good deal. Then we have the blue pegs. We're going to go ahead and place the blue pegs over here. And let's share a couple of these white pegs, since each player needs at least a couple of these here. Pretty much the white pegs are used for everybody. And we'll put the blue ones over here. There we go. Please stay there. Thank you. No rolling off the table. That is not allowed. Okay, so the object of the game is you're trying to get 4 squares in a row, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the best hand in 4 squares in a row. Okay, and what those hands are, it's totally up to you. All right, that's how you determine is you're just going to roll the dice. Let's go ahead and do a couple rolls. That way you understand what it is. So green will be the first player here. You're going to go ahead and roll all these dice. Put them in. This actually came with the game. It's a pretty cool little cup thing to put your dice in. Pretty sturdy, actually. Very sturdy. So you're going to go ahead and put all these dice in here along with the chance die. You go ahead and shake her up, and we're going to roll it. Now, before we start choosing dice, how we want to construct our hand, we're going to look at the chance die. This chance die is going to tell you how many times or how many rolls you get to make. So in this case, I got 2 rolls. So when I roll this once, I get 1 more roll. That's it. I get 2 rolls total to try to come up with a hand. Okay, so I get 2, so I'm going to go ahead and place this over here. Now I'm going to try to figure out what kind of hand do I want to make with this roll. Well, let's see. I got 3 7s here. So that's a good thing right there. And let's see, and here's aces and 7s. So that would be pretty darn cool. So let's see, yeah, for now I'll go ahead and I'll keep the 3 7s and the 2 aces. Now I can roll this one more time if I choose to. Maybe I could try to upgrade my hand a little bit. So I can go ahead and take all these. All right. Go ahead and place them in the cup roller here. I'm going to roll one more time as it allows me to. And we've got, let's see, I got 3 aces, 3 sevens. Let's see. Doesn't really upgrade my hand much. I can either go for the full house or I can go for 3 aces. Let's see here. You know what? I'm going to show you how to do the 3 of a kind here. We're going to go ahead and show you that first, and then I'll show you how you mark your full house, because there's 2 different hands you're dealing with. So if you do the 3 aces, let's just pretend that we don't have those, and you have 3 of a kind, 3 aces. What this player is going to do is you're going to choose any one of these boxes to go ahead and mark your box. So first of all, this is a 3 of a kind, so I'm going to mark the 3 of a kind box. And my 3 of a kind was aces. All right, and there you go. So now it's going to be really tough to beat this square because I have 3 of a kind of aces. So that is a pretty good box. Now let's just go into the full house. If you roll a full house, all right, what you're going to do is obviously, let's just say, where's the full house? Here's full house. Here's a full house box. What you would do is you would place this in the sevens. The one you have the 3, you're going to place it in the 7, and then you will use the white peg for the pair. So 7 and then ace. So that's what the white pegs are for, or pretty much for the full houses, because you need to use 2 pegs to show what you got. Okay, so there you go. So you have 7 and the ace, and that would be your square. Now, like I said, you're trying to get the best hand in 4 of these squares in a row. So let's just say the next player came along. Okay, we did the rolls. Okay, and let's just say I rolled, let's just say, let's see here. Let me see if I can give you an example here. If I can find the right dice. Let's just say I rolled 3 8s. Let's see if I can find a couple more 8s here. That way I can show you. It's hard because all the dice are different here, so I'm trying to find the 8s. Where are the 8s? There's another 8. There's another 8. So let's just say we had 3 8s and 2 aces. And this is the blue player. That means that I have a better hand than this player. So what I would do here is I would go ahead and replace this with a full house. And I replace this with 8s and an ace. So now I took over that box because my hand was a better full house than the other player. So I take over that hand. And this is what you're going to do in this game, is you're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the royal flush, straight flush, 4 of a kind. All you will do is you'll pretty much just mark it. And of course the flushes, the straight flush, obviously you'd mark it the highest card in your hand. So if you had a flush, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you just kind of do the straight flush like so. And that way the highest card in your hand. Same with the straight, you do the same thing. If it's a straight, you would put the highest, say you had 8 through queen, you would place it as a queen. That way you know that's that straight hand. Now, if you tie a hand, you obviously did not beat it. Okay, so if you say I had a full house 8 ace and then I did that again, obviously I cannot beat that. If I tied it, I didn't beat it, so I do not take it over. But there is one exception to the rule. If I tied a hand that is maximum, let's just say this, the royal flush and the ace. Let's just say I did the same exact thing, but it's the highest denomination you can get, then I do take it over. So if I had a royal flush and the ace and I did the same thing, but it's the highest denomination or the highest combination you can do for that roll, that's when you take over, and that's when I would go, okay, well, I just tied it, there we go. But if it's just a regular hand like 8 ace and you tied it, you do not take it over. It's only when it's the maximum you can get where you cannot beat it, and if you tie it, then you take over the square. And that's pretty much it. You're trying to get 4 squares in a row, like I said, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And the player that does that wins the game. And that, my friends, is Peg Poker. It is, you need to tell me, is it the game that never gets put away? You let me know in the comments down below. So let's head on over to the game room, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Peg Poker. Well, you know what? If you are a person that loves poker, and you love rolling dice, which is me, then you will enjoy this game. This is a fun little game to play, especially if you have a couple friends over, and let's play some peg poker. You know, so you don't have hands, you're actually rolling dice. I like the way the dice are rounded, so you'll never have that issue of them, you know, like half cockeyed or, oh, what is it? Is it a king or an ace? I mean, they will roll flat every single time you roll them, so that's pretty awesome just because they're rounded. I like the chance die because that tells you if you roll a 1, okay, well, I got to do something with this hand. Okay, what am I going to do? But 3 is the highest number on that die, so you can have like a Yahtzee where you roll up to 3 times. You can do that. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool little game. Especially, I think the more players you have, the more crazy it gets because then you're going to really start taking over squares instead of just starting a square, and it could get pretty wild. Especially with teams too. If you have teams, that would be fun as well because then you're okay. My turn. Let's see, and then you're talking with each other. Go for the full house. But this square over here, if we can take over that one, we win the game. So it's a pretty cool little game. It's a lot of fun. I highly suggest if like I said, if you love poker and you love rolling dice, who doesn't? Then I believe you like this game. I really think you would. It's very unique. I like the dice. Like I said earlier, I like the way they're rounded. They're really cool. And that dice cup is really solid. I mean, that thing is really cool. I mean, it's not plastic, which is nice. It's actually it's a really hard, maybe it is to make a harder plastic. I'm not sure exactly what it's made of. But it's not your typical plastic. You go pink, pink, pink. I mean, it actually has a real tough. It'll last. I mean, this is 1993, so we're looking at almost 30 years old. That thing is just like it just made yesterday. So it's really, really well constructed. They did a good job on that. So I will give this a thumbs up just because I think I love the uniqueness of it. I like you're trying to take over a square, and that might be the square you need to win the game. I mean, you're trying to get 4 in a row, whether it's horizontal, vertically, or diagonally. And that's when you're trying to do in that game. And sometimes you just take over a square just to take over a square to begin it. But then sometimes you really got to make sure that you're paying attention to what your opponent's doing. Okay, they have 3 in a row. I have that square. Maybe I should try to strengthen that square. That way it's not so easy to beat. Because like I said, if you tie, you do not take it over unless you have the highest hand possible. Like I showed in the tutorial there. Like if you had a straight flush or even a royal, well, yeah, you could do straight flush ace and still, you'd have to get the same exact thing, but you have to have the highest hand possible. That's the only way you can take over a square. That's my episode on peg poker. I hope you enjoyed it. It's definitely a unique little game, that's for sure. And like I said on the box here, the game that never gets put away. So I don't know. Will it be put away in your household? Let me know down in the comments down below. All right, well, thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate your support. And as always, happy gaming.